have with us Professor Sachchitanand sir. So who is introducing? Okay, please.
Good morning, everyone. Today we have with us Professor Sachchitanand Mishra. Sir is a professor of philosophy and religion at Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi since 2010. He has triple master's degree in Navya Nyaya, Shankar Vedanta and Sanskrit Sahitya. He has also been a recipient of Presidential Award for the year 2019, besides being selected by ICSSR for prestigious Sanskrit chair at Sorbonne Nouvelle University in Paris in 2012. He has authored and edited around 12 noted books. We welcome you, sir, for your scholarly lectures. Thank you.
जी. Him?
Sometimes it becomes easier to write down something and make people understand. Okay. So, namaste everybody. I am here to deliver two lectures. And actually I won't like to deliver lecture, but I want a discussion with you. Because sometimes your discussion will make my talk more useful. So if you have any question, you may ask at that time also, or you can ask later after completion of my lecture. So here, first lecture I would like to deliver on Nyaya method of philosophical inquiry. Why I have chosen this topic? Because this is the Nyaya method of philosophical inquiry. But I think that this method is applicable to judicial inquiry in other types of inquiry also. Therefore, I have chosen this topic to discuss with you all. I think I am audible.
Yes.
Your presence here makes me uncomfortable. So, as I can see, in one lecture delivered by Professor Vishwapal Mahapatra, there was an introduction of Nyaya. So here the Nyayikas in old Nyaya, what is known as old Nyaya, because we have two schools, old Nyaya school and the new Nyaya school. And if you ask me in a brief, what is the difference between old Nyaya school and the new Nyaya school, I would say that theoretically there is no difference, but methodically there are some differences. So here I am going to talk what is the Nyaya method of philosophical inquiry, because it is applicable and acceptable to both the schools, old Nyaya school and new Nyaya school. So, according to the Nyayikas, every inquiry, every philosophical inquiry, and you can say every inquiry begins with a doubt. If there is no doubt, you cannot progress. You cannot initiate any inquiry. So the first point, first step of any inquiry is actually presence of doubt. And here also the Nyayikas make a point that what is doubt? Because usually if this question is asked, many people will say that this is a very silly question because everybody knows what a doubt is. Okay? But the Nyayikas are very precise in this manner, this point. They would say that every doubt, whatever you call a doubt, sometimes may not be a case of doubt. So you have to, or if this is a case of doubt, it has to be evaluated. What is the nature of that? What you are doubting? For example, if I give you one example, whether there is a God or not. Okay? And if I ask you simply, if this is a case of doubt, hopefully you say, yeah, this is a case of doubt. But the Nyayikas would say, no, this is not a case of doubt. Whether there is a God or not. Because it begs a question. What you mean to say by the word God? Unless you have defined this idea, what you mean by the term God? There is no point of taking it as a case of doubt. Because in every philosophy, and you can say that in every religion, there could be a different type of idea of God. Some may believe in the idea of all-pervading God. Everything is indifferent from that. Nothing is different from Him. Everyone is identical with Him, like Brahman. Someone might believe in the existence of a God who is the creator of this universe. Someone might be believing that there is a God who has not created this universe, but He is there to give the fruits of our dreams. So what does it mean? This doubt will be meaningless unless you define properly what is the meaning of the term God. Okay? So in every case, the Nyayikas made it clear that whenever you are defining, understanding a case of doubt, you have to understand that there is something known and you are doubting of one of that which is known, you are doubting a property of that. So here, when you are saying whether there is a God or not, this doesn't make sense. If you are positing this question, whether this man is beautiful or not, this could be a case of doubt. If you are pointing out, giving another example, whether this man is guilty or not, this could be the case of doubt. Guilty of committing a particular crime. Guilty of committing a particular crime that must be defined in a peculiar way. So, it is said in Sanskrit, if I say, it is said, taking the Sanskrit terms, there must be one dharmi. Dharmi means something which is a qualificant. And you are doubting whether suppose you have taken X as a dharmi, qualificant, you may doubt whether Y is a property of X or not. Okay? So this is the case of real doubt. And if you have taken this case of doubt, now an inquiry can be. So the Nyaya model of philosophical inquiry is this one in a basic way. Because from here, the inquiry begins. And many of you are the students of law. You can correlate this idea with your branch of knowledge. That this type of inquiry is very much common in the field of law, in the field of justice. Because there are cases, whether the person is a thief or not, whether the person has committed a murder or not. So these all belong to the same kind of thing. And here, if you have studied Descartes, the famous Western philosopher, many of doubts raised by Descartes don't qualify to be the real case of doubt. So, that point I wanted to make you clear first. Because unless we understand the nature of doubt, we cannot initiate a fruitful inquiry. So the first stage, because there are very much harder. It is coming. I thought he has brought. No problem, please. I can deliver without that also, but I think that will be more useful. So, in the Nyaya, there are 16 tattvas. Pramana, Prameya, Sanshaya, Prayojan, Drishtanta, Siddhanta, Avayava, Tark, Nirnaya, Vaad, Jalpa, Vitanda, Hetva, Bhasi, Chaljati, Nigrasa. So these are 16 tattvas. And I think it is not very much required to note down all these tattvas because these are not very much related to what I am going to explain. But a few points are required, interesting, and those must be noted. The idea, everything started from the idea of Brahma. And thereafter there is a Prameya. What is Brahma? Actually, in Nyaya and in Indian philosophical tradition, the idea of Praman is very important. Praman is that instrument through which we acquire a true piece of information. This is my explanation. Without going into the intricacies which are explained in the texts, you can understand that instrument through which we acquire a true piece of information or a knowledge, that instrument is called a pramana. So there are different pramanas accepted by different philosophers, and the first and most important pramana is perception. Because through perception, every inquiry begins. Every piece of information is acquired through perception. And if there is no perception, no other pramana can operate. Because all other pramanas, directly or indirectly, are based on perception. Okay? So the first one is perception. And second one, and this one is actually the most important in the sense. Because through perception has a limit. But inference has no limit. You can become aware of some facts in given certain situations. We all are sitting in this room, we can see each other. We can become aware of the presence of all of you. But suppose I leave this room and I am sitting in a different room. Now I cannot know all these persons, however these are present here. But through inference we can know. So inference has no limitation. And through inference we can become aware of what happened 1000 years ago or 2000 years ago, which is completely beyond our field of perception. or even now, the scientists are discovering what could have been done so many years ago, like 1000 or light years ago or something like that. So these are, inference is not limited. So inference is the second one. Third one is called Upaman. Upaman is actually, it is a praman which is based on similarity, comparison. However, I am not going to discuss that. And fourth one is Shabda Praman. Shabda Praman is that Praman which is a statement of an authentic person, a noteworthy person. The person who doesn't tell a lie. So here you can see that these two pramanas I am not covering here. Upamana and the Shabda. Because Shabda can be classified, can be taken in your field as what is known as Sakshi. Okay, evidence. Evidence of the person whose authenticity is beyond doubt, or whose authenticity is established. Darshi. What is called Gawah. Okay? So, why he is examined? Because in order to establish the point that the person is not telling the lie. Therefore, you examine. So that takes aside. Now I am discussing the idea of inquiry, how it starts. And I told you that it starts from a doubt, and every doubt has a piece of information in it. Because no doubt can originate without a ground. So there must be a ground. And that ground, on the basis of that ground, any doubt can be raised. Therefore, in the 16 tattvas, the first one is taken to be pramana, and thereafter there was prameya. Prameya means what is the object of pramana. That is prameya. So beginning from this doubt, there are actually, I think, if I write down the terms in Hindi, that you can understand, because the original terms are in Sanskrit, and I don't like to translate them sometimes, and I want to make you understand these ideas. However, I define these terms. So, this inquiry starts from Sanshaya, Drishtanta, Siddhanta, Nirnaya.
So what is the second one? Prayojan.
So you can see that these are 7.
Drishta.
So these are 7 things which are involved. So every inquiry begins with a doubt and culminates in a decision. This nirnaya is called decision.
Fifth one.
And the nirnaya is defined by Pakshapada Gautama. Vimishya Paksha Pratipakshabhyam Arthavadharanam Nirnaya. So raising the doubt in 2 parts, Paksha and Pratipaksha. In the field of justice, jurisprudence, it is called in Hindi Vadi and Prativadi. What is called in English? Interdependent. Okay. So these two, you can say Paksha and Pratipaksha. The Sanskrit term is there, Paksha and Pratipaksha. So these are two positions. Arthavadharanam, the decision. So it begins with doubt and reaches at a conclusion. So this is the process of, the Nyayikas call it process of philosophical inquiry. Okay? Because in Western philosophy, it is called speculative philosophy. But the Nyayikas do not prefer the term speculative philosophy. Because they say they actually cannot differentiate and cannot understand actually what speculative philosophy is. For them, philosophy must be realistic. And if it is realistic, it cannot be speculative. It should be based on pramana. And if it is based on pramana, you cannot say it is speculative. So it could be their limitation. But this is their point. So it is, and therefore I told you that this method is applicable to other branches of knowledge. And even it is more, I think, more useful in the area of jurisprudence. So it starts with sunset and comes to a Nirnaya conclusion. So here you can see, when you are having a doubt, there must be some prayojan. Without prayojan means purpose, aim, or goal. So you can see, when two persons are arguing, one person is willing to prove that the X or Y is guilty, and other person is going to prove that the fellow is not guilty. So here there is a purpose for this inquiry, and without purpose there are so many cases of doubt. And actually why one is engaged in removing doubt. This is the point, therefore purpose is taken. Because there are so many doubts, and we just examine, introspect. We don't engage ourselves removing all these kinds of doubts. Some doubts we leave aside. Okay, whatever happens, what I have to bother? Why should I bother? So we leave many kinds of doubts. So there must be some purpose involved. Therefore, purpose is taken here into account. So it is not very much useful in this process, but it is giving one sound basis for this inquiry. Therefore, purpose is inquiry. And hereafter comes Drishtanta. Drishtanta is actually called example. And here it is very well defined. Not every example could be taken as Drishtanta, but only some examples can be taken as Drishtanta. Why? And in the area of jurisprudence, you all are acquainted with the idea, what is called Nazir. And some examples which are quoted by some decisions are given in some cases, and those cases are given in particular context. That see that court in England or in some other country, or suppose in India, one case was decided, that is taken as a case of Drishtanta. So here also it is defined yatra laukika parikshakanam buddhi samyam, where those persons who are examiners, who don't accept without any proof, and the common persons. This is to say, where both them agree, that should be taken as a case of Drishtanta. Not every example. Suppose one person is giving one example and people are not agreeing on that, that will not serve the case of Drishtanta. So there must be that type of Drishtanta, that type of example where both of them, and you can see that Vadi and Prativadi, Paksha and Pratipaksha, opponent and proponent, both agree, that point can be taken as case of Drishtanta. So here, Sanshaya Prayojan Drishtanta. And here comes this idea of Siddhanta. This is very, very interesting idea, Siddhanta. Because this Siddhanta is implied in a different way. And this Siddhanta is not one Siddhanta, but it has many ways. To say, it is said that Tantra Dhikarana Advapudam. There are these three Adhikarana. So, because of Tantra, because of Adhikarana, because of Abhupadama, this Siddhanta differs. Because of Tantra, because of Adhikarana, because of Abhupadama, Siddhanta differs. So what is Tantra? Tantra is actually branch of knowledge. Tantra is branch of knowledge. So every branch of knowledge has different Siddhantas. For example, the concepts, Siddhantas, which are accepted in zoology, those are not applicable in the field of biology. Or, sorry, biology and zoology are somehow related. Geology you can take it here. Those are not applicable to geology. Or those are not applicable in other branches. So, Tantra, due to Tantra, Siddhantas differ. And if we are taking philosophies, there are many opposite philosophies. Opposing philosophies. And their Siddhantas differ. Nyaya philosophy, Mimamsa philosophy, Sankhya philosophy. So these philosophies are different. But here also, the Nyayikas make difference that in Tantra also, there are Siddhantas. Samana Tantra, Samana Tantra, Pratitantra, Sarvatantra. The Nyayikas say that although there are different Siddhantas, but we can see that in all these Tantras, some Siddhantas are common. Even you can point out some concepts which are very much common to all the branches of knowledge. And those concepts would be called Sarvatantra Siddhanta. Those are called Sarvatantra. Sarva means all, Tantra means branch of knowledge, and Siddhanta, you can understand. So Sarvatantra Siddhanta. Pratitantra Siddhanta means opposite. Prati means opposite. For example, for the Nyayikas, Sankhya is an opposite philosophy. Why? Because these two philosophies are based on two completely opposite grounds. For the Nyayikas, in brief I am introducing because sometimes you may find it difficult to grasp. So, but a little understanding is required. For the Nyayikas, whatever exists, whatever is produced, that is a new creation. That is a new creation. That was not existent earlier. And for Sankhyas, every creation must be existent before its creation, otherwise it could not be created. It couldn't have been created. Okay? So the Sankhya theory is known as Satkaryavada and Nyaya theory is known as Asatkaryavada. So you can see that there is a opposite position. One is Satkaryavada, and Satkaryavada literally means presence of effect in the cause before its creation. And Asatkaryavada means absence of effect in the cause before its creation. So you can see the Nyaya and Sankhya philosophies propound different philosophies, completely opposite views regarding the creation of cause, creation of universe, and you can say creation of universe. Because for Sankhya's, the universe is existent before its creation, before its coming out existence. So it is only called Rupantara Parinam, different forms. It is taking different form. However, this is the same thing, which were existent earlier and coming into existence. For the Nyayikas, it is not possible because it is not proved. It is not established. And here they could argue. This is also a case of peculiar case of debate, where peculiar case of inquiry, where both of them could engage. Because one is saying the effect is pre-existent in the cause, another is saying no, effect is not pre-existent in the cause. So there is a doubt. And if there is a doubt, an inquiry and a philosophical inquiry could begin. Okay? So here it is called the Pratitantra Siddhanta, opposite theories. And this is also Samanatantra. Samanatantra means two dances could be very much similar. Very much similar. Like zoology, anthropology. These could be very much similar. A little bit similar because there is a similarity. One studies some peculiar animal and other studies all the animals. So there is a similarity. So you can put them together. So this is called the Samanatantra. Here in philosophical inquiry it is said that Nyaya and Vaisheshika, these two are called the Samanatantra because both of them agree on many issues. And later on actually Nyaya Vaisheshik philosophies are evolved as a simple single branch of philosophy. What is called a Navya, in that Vaisheshik philosophy is also included. All the discussion goes on the basis of Vaisheshik philosophy. So that is example of Samanata. And thereafter comes, so these two, this Tantra Siddhanta is important. And now comes Adhikarana Siddhanta. This is a very, very interesting concept. Adhikarana Siddhanta. Adhikarana means base, basic, you can say basic concept. If I translate it, Adhikarana means actually base on which you are sitting on the chair. Okay, so this chair is your Adhikarana. Okay, I am standing on the ground, so this ground is my Adhikarana. So it is base. Standing on this, I am speaking. Sitting on the chair, you are talking. So Adhikarana Siddhanta is that Siddhanta, basing yourself on that, you are philosophizing, you are inquiring. So this is the Adhikarana Siddhanta, basic concept. And actually what happens? In every branch of philosophy or in every branch of study, there are certain basic concepts. And if you accepted this basic concept, you are forced to accept so many other concepts. And if you don't accept that one, if you deny it, and you can see that I have never entered a judge, high court or any courtroom, but I have watched so many movies in which there is a debate, and some places you can find, however, that is more dramatic. But you can see that there are certain points. One point is proved, and from that point, so many other points are proved. Because if you deny that point, you denied so many points. And if you accepted this point, you accepted so many points. And in order to make this concept intelligible, where it is intelligible in itself, but sometimes I tell a story. And this story is very interesting, therefore I am telling you, if you permit me. This story is there in Mahabhashya, Patanjali Mahabhashya. There was a girl who started doing tapasya. You know tapasya? So she started doing tapasya, and doing tapasya so long time she spent doing tapasya, and she became old, much old. So there is a term Viddha Kumar. And when Indra appeared in front of her, after so long tapasya, Indra told her that you ask only one boon. I grant you only one boon, not more than that. And whatever you are willing, you may ask. So this girl was very clever. She told Indra, that I want that my grandchildren eat in golden utensils in a grand house, enjoying. And when Lord Indra accepted this boon, what happened? Asking only one thing, she is already so old, and she is asking that her grandchildren should eat, should enjoy in the golden utensils, living in a grand house. So how is it possible? It could be possible only if she is made younger, much younger. And she made so prosperous, so rich. So asking one boon, she asked so many things. So it happens everywhere. In the field of philosophy also it happens. In the field of jurisprudence this also happens. So we have to be very careful. And actually we miss this point. If we are careful enough, that what is the key concept? You can say that what is the key position? And if that key position is proved, now I am at the liberty. I could prove everything. Because I am here to prove only one thing, one point. So if that is proved, everything else will be proved. So here it is called Adhikarana Siddhanta. Nyaya. Let me ask you, if a simple statement is given, the person who commits a crime must enjoy and actually enjoy the fruits of that. Do you agree with it? Some might agree and some might not. And who agree on this statement? What else they have to agree? Just inquire. On the basis of it, they must agree so many things. They must accept so many things. Because we, in day-to-day life, we simply observe that many persons have committed crimes and we don't see them get punished. And if we accepted, jaisi karni waisi bharni, the person who commits a crime enjoys the fruits of that doing. You must accept that he, if not enjoying the fruits of that doing in this life, must enjoy the fruit of that doing in later life. Isn't it? So, accepting this statement, you are accepting, and the Nyayikas go on to prove some more things on the basis of these silly points. This is very simple. The person who perceives, the person that remembers, isn't it? Who remembers? The person who has perceived. Okay? So now the point is this one. When I was 5 years old, if you have taken my picture of when I was 5 years old, and now I am more than 50 years, you can find no similarity. Okay? How could you believe that this is the same person? I was 5 years old, I was so small. And how I could be the same person, identical? My weight was only 10 kg or 15 kg or 20 kg. Now my weight is 69 kg, 80 kg, 70 kg. So many differences. What is the ground of this identity? How to prove it? If you accepted that the person who perceives remembers, and the person who has not perceived cannot remember. So now I am 53 years old now, today. I am remembering something which I experienced when I was 5 years young. How is it possible? Because the bodies are different. It is proved by perception. Through perception, it is very clearly proved that bodies are not identical. So where is the identity? What is the basis of identity? The Nyayika say that you have to accept that there is something beyond body. That is Atman. Because the body is not experiencing, rather the Atman is experiencing. And the body is changed, but Atman is not changed. Therefore, you are capable of remembering. So on this ground, they go to prove these things. Okay? So here, Adhikarana Siddhanta is very important in the sense that on the basis of this, you can prove so many things. So when you are inquiring, you have to be very careful whether this is an Adhikarana Siddhanta or not. And examining it very carefully, what are the implications of this acceptance? When you are accepting it, you have to evaluate what are the conclusions, what are the repercussions of this acceptance. If I accepted this one, what else I am going to accept? When Lord Indra was giving boon to her, he must have inquired whatever he is going to give. Isn't it? So this is the idea regarding Adhikar. And then comes the idea of Abhyupagama Siddhanta. Abhyupagam means accept. Abhyupagam means acceptance. So Abhyupagama Siddhanta, that Siddhanta which is accepted only for the purpose of evaluation. Only for the purpose of evaluation. That is called Abhyupagama Siddhanta. Therefore, in jurisprudence, when there is a case of murder. There is a very strong point in discussion regarding motive. What is the motive of that murder? Why the person, everything is there, but motive is missing. If suppose motive is missing, then other person could say, okay, let us accept he murdered it, he committed the crime. But what is the motive of committing this crime? Why the person is committing a crime? There must be some motive. And this is your responsibility to put the motive, establish the motive. And that will make the position strong. So here, Adhikarana Siddhanta, can I have a glass of water here? Okay, thank you. You can see it. Please visit. So this Abhyugamam Siddhanta is that Siddhanta what you accept without evaluation, for the purpose of evaluation. Okay? So you accepted it now without scrutiny, but you say, okay, like in mathematics, when you are taking some peculiar example and you say, okay, let the amount be 100. And thereafter you start inquiring. You start begin calculation. And later it comes. So no, it was not 100 actually. The real answer is 500 or 1000 or something else. So Abhyugamam Siddhanta is that type of concept which is accepted only for the purpose of evaluation. If it passes all the scrutiny, then only it could turn on another Siddhanta. But before that, it is only Abhyugamam. So it is useful in the process of inquiry. Tantra Adhikarana Abhyugamam Siddhanta. So actually,
In philosophy, we call presupposed category.
yeah.
Something which has already been accepted, which cannot be evaluated, but which can be used to evaluate other points.
No, actually, this point is actually this is going a little closer to that idea. That we supposed it, but we supposed and we inquire what follows. What follows it? What will follow it? And if it is not contradicted later, it is accepted. And I think it is very much similar to the idea of hypothesis in science. What is the idea of hypothesis? One hypothesis is framed. For example, when inquiry is started, the police has no clue who committed the crime, who committed the murder. And now they formulate one hypothesis that this person committed a crime. Okay? So this is Abhyugamam Siddhanta. This person committed a crime. So now from this, what else follows? What else follows? Suppose investigation starts. This person committed a crime. So now what is the motive? Why the person have committed the crime? You inquire, and if motive is also established, then you also think the different way. How could it have been done? So all these are taken together, and now you can be in a situation to establish. And if you formulated the theory, and later on discovery, you formulated the theory that this person committed a crime, the person has murdered. At what time the murder was done at 10 o'clock, and the person has murdered, the person has motive, and on scrutiny it was, it came to the notice that at 10 o'clock the person was attending a marriage ceremony. The person could not be here. So because the person was attending a marriage ceremony, the person could not commit this crime. So now you have to start afresh. You cannot move in this direction. So this hypothesis is.
Can we say it is kind of presumption?
Presumption also you can
For
say.
example, let me give an example. There is a property dispute.
Yeah.
So what law says, just for the smooth process of litigation, that if one party is in the possession of property, so it is presumed that he is the owner. So till the disposal of the case, till the court decides the case, the possession will not be disturbed. So can we say that it is kind of presumption?
No, in that sense it cannot be said a kind of presumption. Because presumption on the basis of you are acting. You have taken it as a presumption, and on the basis of you are acting, actually you have not reached at a conclusion till now. The court has not reached at a conclusion, but it is a settlement for a time, for a certain time, till the case is till the case is decided in the favor or against the person. This matter be in the same.
ये अवधारणा एक शब्द है हिंदी में वो
नहीं, अवधारणा भी इसको हम नहीं कहेंगे. अवधारणा हम actually in Sanskrit, avadharana is something like decision. Arthavadharanam yajaya. So here when we decide, that is called arthavadharana. So avadharana is actually certain, it is nishchayatmak. Yeah, it is proved. So factual statement, it is actual. So that should not be there. So abhyupadam, what we can say, it is very much like hypothesis. Okay, as in the field of science. So one hypothesis is accepted on the basis of calculations are made, on the basis of some presumptions are made, and thereafter we come whether this is opposed or not. Whether this is opposed or not. And if it is opposed, we should give it up. And if it is supported, then we accept in the field.
falsified or verified.
Yeah. Now comes avayava. I think avayavas are, might have explained, this is called five-stage syllogism sometimes. Pratigya, Hedu, Udaharana, Upanaya and Nigamana. So here actually in the morning we were discussing regarding this. The Nyayikas made it very clear that the inference is not only the property of human beings. Other animals also infer. And in the process of inference, words have nothing to do. Without words, inference can go on. Those persons who are not acquainted with words, they can also infer. However, every inference is based on two things. One is known as Vyapti Jnana, cognition of Vyapti. You can say knowledge of universal concomitance. Universal concomitance. Okay? In Sanskrit it is called Vyapti Jnana. Knowledge of Vyapti. Okay? इसका यूनिवर्सल कंकमिटेंस का मतलब यह है कि जैसे कि हम उदाहरण को लें, जो बहुत फेमस उदाहरण है, a very famous example in Nyaya tradition and also in the whole Indian tradition. We infer fire on the basis of smoke. Okay? So what things are to be known for earlier? When you are inferring that fire is in the mountain, one thing you must know, that wherever there is smoke, there is fire. Okay? Wherever there is smoke, there is fire. So knowledge of this point is called knowledge of universal concurrence. Being knowledge, and sometimes I call it knowledge of being together. Knowledge of being together. Okay? So these two are present together universally. Okay? And if in given situation they are together, that will not make them universal concurrent. For example, if you are willing to prove smoke on the basis of fire, it will not be a proper inference. Because smoke is universally concomitant to fire, but fire is not universally concomitant to smoke. Fire could be concomitant to smoke given certain conditions. If the wood is not सूखी नहीं है लकड़ी, अगर आग लगेगी तो भी धुआं निकलेगा, आग लगेगी तो भी धुआं निकलेगा। तो ऐसी स्थिति में इसको कहते हैं आर्द्र ईंधन संयोग, गीले ईंधन का संयोग अगर है तो धुआं निकलेगा। ओके, सो फायर इज नॉट concomitant to smoke, rather smoke is concomitant to fire. So on the basis of smoke you can infer, but on the basis of fire you cannot infer. So one thing is required, that is called the universal concurrence. Second thing is called पक्ष धर्मता ज्ञान, called व्याप्ति ज्ञान. Second is called पक्ष धर्मता ज्ञान. Knowledge of presence of reason in action. And in Aristotelian logic also, these two things are involved. On the basis of Aristotelian logic also operates. When you speak, you take three steps. One, let us take the famous example, all men are mortal. All men are mortal. So there is universal concomitance between being mortal and being mortal, being a human and being mortal. Okay, so being human and being mortal, these two are taken together. You can see that being human is universally concomitant to being mortal. So there is knowledge of universal concomitance. Then second thing is paksha dharmata jnana, presence of hetu in paksha. There must be knowledge that the person, Socrates or anyone else, is a human being. So here, being human is a property of that person, and which is present in that person. Therefore, on the basis of these two, they are able to infer. Okay? But the point is this one, they reduced and they reduced it to human beings. And they have not a clear-cut distinction between the inference which is verbal and which is non-verbal. And the Nyayikas and in the whole Indian tradition, this distinction is very much highlighted. They would say that actually this is a very deciding factor, very much important in all the human beings, in all other animals also. There are so many animals, even the cows, even the monkeys, even the crows. You can see, even the crows can make tools. Even chimpanzees can make tools. They are capable of making tools. And without inference, how could they make? So now they are accepting this idea that they are also rational beings. And the idea of man is a rational being is now repeated. Because only man is not a rational being, but these animals are also rational beings. However, their rationality is of lower grade. We are having a higher grade of rationality. Somewhere I studied that the cows are smart enough as the 8-year-olds or 5 years old human beings. 5 years old human beings. Once I had been talking about someone, the person said that just imagine when one is eating cow, that whom you are eating, that being is smart enough, intelligent enough as a smart human being, small human being. So the idea is this one, that all human beings are not equally rational. You cannot say that we all are equally rational. There could be some persons who are more rational and some are a little bit less rational. So here, this rationality, lower grade rationality is applicable to other animals also. So what is the basis of this rationality? The basis of this rationality is the capability of inference. What one can infer. Actually, actually, we have not a proper translation of this word. Sometimes we say buddhimatta.
Pragya is also.
Pragya is something we cannot say that pragya is present in the animals. Vivek is present in the animals, we do not say. Vivek is a particular quality of human beings. Pragya is the particular quality of human beings. But rationality as is defined. Rationality is not Vivek. Rationality is not Pragya. So these are different things. So animals are also capable of inference. So the Indian tradition makes a distinction that there is an inference which is for the sake of self. And there is another kind of inference which is for the sake of others. So when we are inferring, we infer it without any intervention of knowledge, language. Any information without any interference of language. Sometimes words are coming into memory, therefore we get confused that how we are saying that words are not there. But the inference, in the process of inference, words have growth.
लुडविग विट्गेनस्टाइन एक फिलोसोफर ने कहा कि इस दुनिया में कुछ भी इन्फर बिना लैंग्वेज के नहीं किया।
ये तो पूरी वेस्टर्न ट्रेडिशन ही कहती है, पूरा वेस्टर्न। क्योंकि कारण क्या है, देखिए जो इन्फर हम कर रहे हैं, वो हम इन्फर कर रहे हैं कि नहीं, उसको जब हम बताना शुरू करेंगे तो शब्द की जरूरत पड़ेगी। शब्द की जरूरत पड़ेगी। अगर हमको शब्द की जरूरत उस समय पड़ेगी और उसके पहले हम इन्फर किए हैं कि नहीं किए, हम कैसे पता, दूसरे कैसे पता। तो पूरी की पूरी वेस्टर्न ट्रेडिशन इस बात को कहती है कि शब्द के बिना इन्फ्रेंस संभव नहीं। इसीलिए उन्होंने स्वार्थानुमान और परार्थानुमान में भेद नहीं किया। They have not made a distinction between स्वार्थानुमान and परार्थानुमान. And due to that, sometimes we get confused how it is here that there are 5 states and there is only 3. There are only 3 states. But in Indian tradition, it is very clearly stated that animals are also, all animals are not, but in some animals surely are capable of inference. Okay? And this is to say that other animals are not capable in pararthama because they cannot make other persons infer. But we are smart enough, we can introspect, we can evaluate how we acquired, and the process is transferred to others. Because we highlighted, we understood that these two cognitions are required. These two cognitions are required in order to produce inferential, in order to reach at inferential decision. So if we can transfer these two cognitions, the other person will also be able to generate this. Therefore, there is a 5-stage syllogism. That is Pratigya, Hetu, Udaharana, Upanaya, Nigamana. I think you are acquainted with these ideas, or shall I make it clear?
Little bit.
Okay. So, first one is Pratigya. Pratigya is the statement telling what one is going to do. And you can correlate it with jurisprudence, where two persons coming, one is coming with the proposition that the person is guilty, another is coming with the proposition that the person is not guilty. Okay? So this is Pratigya. Second one is Hetu. Hetu means reason. On the basis, there must be some reason. He is guilty because he has committed a crime. He has committed a murder. Okay? So now you can see, if this is taken, it is very much inherent, very much established, that if a person has committed a murder, he is a criminal. So we do not go in that detail. Rather, we put another example, that he is a murderer. He is a murderer. And now there must be one reason to establish it. One reason to establish it. So there is a hint. And if I take the peculiar example which is stated in Nyaya tradition, the mountain is fiery because it has a smoke. So the first one is Pratigya, mountain is fiery. Second one is because of smoke. This is Hetu. Third one is, wherever there is a smoke, there is a fire. Wherever there is a smoke, there is a fire. This is called Udaharana Vakya. So it is called Udaharana Vakya. You see, Drishtanta is here Udaharana. What is the distinction between Drishtanta and Udaharana? Udaharana is actually, these are actually Vakya. These are actually sentences. This is Udaharana Vakya. This is Udaharana sentence. The sentence which explains the Drishtanta, showing the relation between Drishtanta and Jati. That is called a Udaharana Vakya. Wherever there is a smoke, there is a fire, as in the kitchen. But surely these are not modern day kitchens, because there is no smoke. So the old kitchens where smoke was there. So fourth one is, and here in Indian tradition, Buddhists, Mansakas and also Vedantins have said that these 5 sentences are not required. We can do with less number of sentences. Only 3 or only 2. Some are of also this opinion that only 2 are sufficient. So Hetu and Udaharana will be sufficient. But the Nyayikas say that there is a clear, distinct, clear statement and argumentation. Why we need 5? The Nyayikas say that every person is not so much intelligent. The intelligence is different. Some person are intelligent enough. If you say because of smoke, the person will grasp the whole idea and the person can understand that what you are going to tell. Isn't it? But some people might not be so smart. They could not grasp. So we should make it so explained, so clear that no person gets confused. So the point is this one, that one should not got mistaken from our mistake. Okay? So my system should be so clear that if other person is less intelligent, then also the person could understand. Therefore, we need 5 steps. Fourth one is Upanaya. Upanaya. You bring it there. You say, this is like that. Yeah, this is like that. This is like, the mountain is like kitchen. Mountain is like kitchen. Because wherever there is a smoke, there is a fire, as in the kitchen. Mountain is like kitchen. That means, as in the kitchen there is a smoke which is concomitant to fire. In the same way, there is a smoke in the mountain also, and this smoke is concomitant to fire. So now there is a conclusion. This is called a nigaman. The conclusion is, mountain is fiery because of smoke. Having smoke, mountain is fire. Because mountain has smoke, therefore it is. So now it is, these are 5 steps. You can see this is all. Now there comes tarika. And only then you come at a conclusion. Because there are 2 positions. One is affirmation and one is negation. Because you started with the doubt. And doubt, when you start with a doubt, in doubt there are 2 options. Either the person is murderer or not murderer. Either smoke is fiery or not fiery. So, one position is affirmed on these basis. But other position, other possibility should be rejected. Negation. Other option should be negated. Because if other option is negated, then only you can reach at a conclusion. Suppose one had presented 5 steps and other also presented 5 steps. What is now? What to do now?
Mining presents or absence.
Because suppose someone said in the favor of presence of fire in the mountain. Other person so you can see that is the jurisprudence in the court. Someone has presented the case that this person is murderer. Other person has presented the case that this person is not. Now the ball in the hand of court, honorable court, to decide who is telling the truth and who is telling the lie, who is presenting the real face and who is only making the face. Okay? So what can be done? Here comes the role of tarka. Okay? Vyapyaropena vyapakaropastarka. This is defined in this way. That here vyapyaropena vyapakaropa. You impose something on the basis of one imposition. You impose something else. Okay? So here in every case, whatever you have presented, somewhere you have to make the point that any place is prone to these objections. Raising of this tarika. Suppose you could ask from this point that if suppose someone say that okay, let there be smoke but no fire. Let there be smoke but no fire. What you do? You accept one point, but you reject other. One half is accepted and other half is rejected. So when two positions are presented, one part must say in this way. Okay? Okay, your position is this one. Let me accept it. But it doesn't prove that the person is not guilty. Whatever you told, I accept. But let this be true. But this be wrong that the person is not guilty. And this way, in other also can be present. And when this is said, there comes the role of tarka. You say that if this were the case, if there were smoke and no fire, the smoke would have been without fire. And that cannot be accepted. Without any cause. That cannot be accepted. Suppose in the case where a person is caught in the crime scene where a murder was done, and it was proved beyond doubt that the person was present there. And she says, okay, I was present but I didn't murder. I have not committed this crime. In this way, tarka can be presented. That if you have not committed the crime, that means crime was done by none. The person was murdered by none because nobody else was there. Okay? So this reject the position, one option, and affirms another. So rejecting the other half, one half is present. So this is the whole idea of inquiry, philosophical inquiry, beginning from doubt to conclusion. Okay? So I think I could make a point. If there are some questions, I will be happy to answer them. Thank you very much for listening my points.
These 7 steps are known as Praman.
No, these are not known as Praman. This is actually in Nyaya system. This is actually method. These are methods.
Epistemology of Nyaya.
No, it is not epistemology. Actually, Pramana Pramaya. When you are saying, beginning from this, these two are first two tattvas, Pramana and Pramaya. Pramana is the first one. This is called epistemology. Pramana. Pramaya is called metaphysics, or to be known. And this is called a methodology. This is the methodology of Nyaya. How to reach at a conclusion. So this is the methodology of Nyaya. To reach at a conclusion. To inquire regarding anything. So these are tattvas, 7 tattvas, and you can see these two are there. And thereafter there are 7 tattvas which are actually rules of debate. Rules of debate. But unfortunately we cannot make those points. Hope in future also sometimes we can do that.
Okay, so we can have questions if there are any.
So there is one saying, तर्क का translation logic हम लोग करते हैं.
तर्क का ट्रांसलेशन जो लॉजिक करते हैं ना, वो एक्चुअली एक तो तर्क शास्त्र बोलते हैं. तर्क शास्त्र का ट्रांसलेशन आप लॉजिक कर सकते हैं, लेकिन यहाँ पर जो तर्क है इसका नाम, इसको आप लॉजिक के रूप में ट्रांसलेट नहीं कर सकते.
Logic is part of our this process.
नहीं, इसमें जो है क्या है ना कि तर्क शास्त्र में तो ये सारी चीजें आ जाती हैं. तर्क शास्त्र में हमको प्रमाण मीमांसा को भी ले आना पड़ता है, उसके बाद अवयव को भी लाना पड़ता है, ये तर्क भी उसमें आ जाता है, और ये दृष्टांत भी उसमें आ जाएगा. ये तर्क शास्त्र जो हम कहते हैं, मतलब ये पूरा का पूरा एकदम वाटर टाइट कंपार्टमेंट जैसा कुछ डिसाइडेड नहीं है.
So just like research methodology and research method.
हाँ.
Any other question?
नहीं, आर्गुमेंट भी इसको नहीं कहना चाहिए. तर्क को हम और एक्चुअली क्या है ना, किसको हमारे एक मित्र ने एक अंग्रेजी शब्द इसके लिए पॉइंट किया. पार्डन? नहीं, डिबेट भी नहीं. डिबेट की तो एक अलग ही प्रक्रिया है. डिबेट जी, रीजनिंग भी असल में क्या है ना कि रीजनिंग में तो ये सारी प्रक्रिया आ जाएगी. ये जो एक है ना तर्क यहाँ पर जो आ रहा है, इस तर्क के लिए मुझे अभी शब्द याद नहीं आ रहा है, एक मित्र ने पॉइंट किया था कि नहीं, दिस इज नॉट पॉइंटर।
सर, जब हम अवयव को देख रहे हैं, जब हम वो 5 स्टेप्स को फॉलो कर रहे हैं, तो क्या तर्क उसी में कंकरिंग विद व्हाट चंचल सर हैज जस्ट पॉइंटेड आउट, इज इट देन नॉट इन फैक्ट अ पार्ट ऑफ अवयव ओनली, तर्क?
No, it is not part of 5 avyavas. It is separate from that. Actually, it is defined as vyapyaropena vyapakaropastarka. Something you impose on the basis of one imposition, you impose something which is not acceptable, which is absurd. It cannot be accepted. That is called tarika. So you on the basis of one imposition, this imposition is not true actually. This is not factual actually, but it is imposed. So on the imposition of that, you impose something which is not acceptable. Okay, that is called tark.
So ultimately the purpose of tark is to negate every alternative possible, is what we can
other
see.
alternatives except one. Because every inquiry when it starts, there are 2 alternatives. Okay, so if you remove one alternative, so other alternative is left. That alternate, and in order to prove actually what has to be done, there are 2 steps you can see. One, because there are 2 alternatives, so one alternative should be rejected. But only one alternative is rejected. It doesn't entail that other alternative is proved. So in order to prove other alternative, you have to give some pramanas. Okay? For that purpose, there are 5 steps avyava and this process is. And in order to reject other alternative, there is the.
Could we say analysis?
No, it is not analysis. It is not analysis.
एक शब्द है नेति, not this. So by doing that, we can come to that affirmation, to negating multiple alternatives.
Yeah, actually, neti is the idea, philosophical idea explained in Advaita Vedanta. Because that idea, neti, is only simply rejection. But that is not tarka. It is not tarka. Because every negation is not tarka. The peculiar negation is tarka. Giving one objection, one imposition on the basis of other imposition, when something is rejected, that is called tarka.
I would suggest you can keep our questions and discuss it in after lunch session. We have a preliminary session after 20 minutes with Professor Gopal, who will be running a track. So have tea and then we'll assemble again. Thank you so much. We have.
ഡോക്ടർ മോഹൻ ഗോപാൽ
അല്ല, അത് എത്ര മിനിറ്റ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു?
ബ്രേക്ക്